Here are some of my suggestions for this year to make this an even better year than perhaps you have decided to make it when the year first began. Here's the first one. Review your performance. When you're just getting started and you're out there trying to piece everything together, it's crucial to take a step back every now and then. Ask yourself, how am I really doing? Now, this kind of personal check-in can be incredibly valuable. You see, the sooner you catch your mistakes, the sooner you can correct them. I remember my first year learning to recruit and sell. There were habits I picked up that by the end of that year, I knew I had to change. And let me tell you, the earlier you can make those changes, the better off you'll be. These early adjustments can set you up for success down the road. So here's the lesson. Take the time to review your performance. Make it a habit to sit down every so often and evaluate what you're doing. Look at what you're saying, how you're saying it, and why you're doing it that way. This is especially important if you aspire to be an effective leader in the future. Reviewing your performance isn't just a nice to have, it's a must. At the end of each day, give yourself a personal grade. This isn't for anyone else, just between you and yourself. Ask yourself, did I earn an A today? Maybe an A plus? Or was today more of a B, a C, or even worse? If there were things you didn't feel good about, that's okay. What matters is that you recognize them and work to improve. You don't need to broadcast this to anyone else. This is your own private assessment. As you go through the year, keep checking in on yourself. Ask, am I better now than I was a year ago? Have I smoothed out some of the rough edges that used to hold me back? Is my presentation improving? Am I becoming more effective in how I interact with people, not just on stage, but in those one-on-one or small group settings? These personal interactions can be even more critical than your big stage performances. The way you communicate with a small group, especially those who could become future leaders in your organization, can have a lasting impact. Sometimes what you say in those moments matters more than what you say to a crowd of 1,000. So as you move forward, make it a priority to review your performance regularly. It's also wise to have a few trusted people around you who can offer honest feedback. Here's why. When you're in the thick of things, busy with meetings, presentations, and workshops, it can be hard to objectively evaluate yourself. But someone observing from the outside can offer insights you might miss. Don't hesitate to ask them, how did I do? Was my presentation clear? Did my workshop hit the mark? On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate my performance? If you trust their judgment, they can provide valuable feedback on your language, style, attitude, and overall delivery. Sometimes we're too close to our own work to see it clearly, but with their perspective, you can gain wisdom and make the necessary adjustments. So remember, regularly reviewing your performance, both on your own and with the help of others, is key to continuous improvement. It's not about tearing yourself down. It's about building yourself up with constructive feedback and wise counsel. I once had the opportunity to travel with a very famous man, Dr. Schuller. We were on a trip together to Singapore and Kuala Lumpur, speaking at seminars. Now, Dr. Schuller is someone who's been out there lecturing and teaching for decades minus 35, maybe 40 years. He's well known across the globe and has a famous church in America. After we wrapped up our sessions in Singapore, he and I were talking, reflecting on how things went. Dr. Schuller shared something with me that really stuck. He said, you know, Mr. Rohn, if I were to rate my presentation in Kuala Lumpur on a scale of 1 to 10, I'd say it was only about a 6. He went on to explain that during his talk in Kuala Lumpur, he veered into discussing politics, a topic he felt he should have avoided. That detour distracted him and threw off his focus. Because of that, he didn't feel his performance was as strong as it could have been. But then he added, here in Singapore, though, the session we just finished, I felt good about it. If I were to evaluate my presentation here, I'd give it about a 9. And you know what? I agreed with him. His self-assessment seemed pretty accurate. What struck me was that even someone as famous and accomplished as Dr. Schuller was still critically evaluating his own performance. Here's a man who's been admired worldwide for years, yet he's still taking the time to assess how he's doing. He's questioning whether he allowed himself to get distracted, whether he touched on topics he should have avoided, especially considering the audience and the country he was in. I found that incredible. It's no wonder Dr. Schuller is so respected around the world. He understands the importance of self-evaluation, of constantly checking in on his own performance. Even after decades of success, he's still asking himself, how did I do? Did I stay on track? Could I have done better? That's a powerful lesson for all of us. No matter how far we've come, no matter how much we've achieved, there's always room for self-reflection and improvement. It's this commitment to continuous growth that separates the good from the great. So take a page from Dr. Schuler's book. Never stop evaluating your performance and always strive to be better, even when you're already at the top. Here's second one, bit of advice for this year. That is to refine your goals. There are some important questions you should ask yourself regularly. It's a good idea to go back and review your progress, to really lock down what you've learned and make sure it's solid. This reflection anchors your understanding and reinforces your commitment to your goals. From there, it's crucial to expand and deepen your thinking about your goals and your future. Now that you've been in the game for a while, maybe a year or two, it's time to reassess what you want to achieve. A year ago, you might have had a limited view of what was possible. But now, with more experience under your belt, you need to broaden your perspective. Don't just think about the financial goals that seemed important at first. Consider all the other aspects of your life that matter too. I like to call this process the refinement of your goals. And what does that really mean? It means finding the reasons that drive you to succeed. If you have enough compelling reasons, you can achieve anything. Your reasons are the fuel that keeps you going, that pushes you to reach higher and do more. You need enough reasons to get up early in the morning, enough reasons to stay up a little later at night, enough reasons to commit to learning the disciplines that will take you where you want to go. You need reasons to push yourself, to develop your skills, to put in the effort, and to keep your faith strong. But remember, this process of refining your goals is ongoing. Some goals you started with might no longer serve you. I've experienced that myself. When I first started building my organization, I set goals that I later realized weren't worth the cost. Some things I chased after were too expensive, not just in money, but in time, energy, and peace of mind. If I had known what it would take to achieve those goals, I might have chosen differently. I learned to adjust my goals over time. Some things I once obsessed over turned out to be less satisfying than I imagined. The price was too high. And when I finally got there, the reward wasn't as sweet as I expected. This ongoing process of refining your goals is vital not just for you personally, but for your business and your family as well. You see, purpose is stronger than the object itself. Knowing what you want is important, but understanding why you want it is even more crucial. So take the time to decide what you want, and more importantly, why you want it. Keep working on this. If you maintain a clear vision of your goals and your reasons for pursuing them, you'll find it much easier to change the course of your days, to build momentum in your organization, and to shape a better future. Refining your goals is the key to unlocking your potential and making your dreams a reality. Here's the third one that I would give you good advice for this year, and that is to exercise your willpower. There's no limit to what you can achieve if you set your mind to it. Two of the most powerful words in any language are "I will." Benjamin Disraeli once said, "Nothing can resist a human will." And that's the truth. If you start using those two words more often this year, "I will," you'll find that your potential is greater than you ever imagined. Say to yourself, "I will learn the disciplines I need. I will get better every single day. I will make sure my presentations are top-notch. I will take full advantage of every opportunity. I will make the best use of my time. I will correct my mistakes more effectively this year than I did last year. I will do an outstanding job in everything I do." That's the power of will. When you tap into your willpower, you become unstoppable. It's unmatched, but only if you decide to use it. Many of us have more potential than we realize, but we aren't using it. It's like having a bank account filled with money and never writing a check. Imagine having a $10 million bank account, but you only write $1 checks. That wouldn't make sense, right? Well, I'm asking you to think of your willpower like that bank account. You have a $10 million account of willpower sitting there waiting to be used. What I'm encouraging you to do this year is to write some bigger checks. Take on larger challenges and say to yourself, "I've faced and solved problems before, and I will solve the problems of the future. I will correct my mistakes. I will overcome my fears and meet people I was once afraid to approach. I will master the art of public speaking. I will become a leader. I will make the necessary changes to improve my life." I'm telling you, you can do all of that. The only thing standing between you and your goals is your decision to tap into your willpower. So this year, start writing those bigger checks. Use your willpower to push yourself further, to achieve more, and to become the person you've always wanted to be. You have the power within you. Just say, "I will," and watch what happens. Here's the fourth one. Conserve your time. We all have the same amount of time each day. It was a real eye-opener for me when I realized that rich people have 24 hours a day and poor people have 24 hours a day too. What an incredible discovery. I thought to myself, isn't that something to think about? The rich and the poor both have the same amount of time, so what's the difference? Life is about figuring out how some people have learned to make the most of the time they've got. Some people have figured out how to turn their time into something much more valuable than it was just a few years ago. They've learned how to capitalize on the time they have, to use it wisely, and to turn every day into something extraordinary. If you have time and don't use it wisely, you might end up living a life that's less than it could be. But if you learn to make the most of your time, here's what can happen. You can live the equivalent of 5 lifetimes in one. You can even live 10 lifetimes in one. You see, life isn't just about the passing of time. It's about the experiences you collect, the intensity of those experiences, and how often you have them. It's about thinking beyond where you are now and reaching out to touch the lives of many people, not just a few. If you save your time and use it wisely, especially in business, you can achieve so much more than you ever thought possible. And the experiences you gain from touching other people's lives, having them come back and thank you for it, are priceless. That's one of the reasons I still travel all around the world. Every now and then, someone will say, Mr. Rohn, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, or even 20 years ago, I listened to your story. What you said changed my life. Look at what I've achieved since then. You can't put a price on that. So I'm encouraging you to use your time wisely. Whether you've got 10 years left, 20 years, or even 30 years, make the most of it. I've realized recently that I'm probably in the second half of my life. But whatever time you've got left, whether it's a little or a lot, the key is to make it count. Don't let it just slip away. Make your time valuable. Make it useful. If you've got an hour, make the most of it. If you've got a day, fill it up with purpose. If you have a chance to talk to someone, give them everything you've got, your knowledge, your passion, your energy. If you start making the most of the time you have, life will reward you with the opportunity to live not just one, but many lifetimes within your lifetime. Here's the fifth one. Admit your mistakes. Sometimes we've got to face the truth and admit our mistakes to those around us, especially to those we've let down. It's not always easy, but honesty is the first step in making things right. When people count on you and things don't go as planned, it's important to own up to those mistakes. You've got to say, you know what? I made a mistake and it didn't work out. But here's the real key. More important than admitting your mistakes to others is learning to admit them to yourself. The most powerful counsel you'll ever receive is the counsel of your own conscience, the wisdom that comes from deep within you. Now, don't get me wrong, the advice from leaders, family, and friends is valuable. We should appreciate it, no doubt. But the counsel that will truly shape your future is the one you give yourself. You see, within you lies a reservoir of answers and solutions that you may not have tapped into yet. But first, you've got to have an honest conversation with yourself. Sit down and say, here's where I went wrong. Here's where I could have done better, but I didn't. Here's where I let things slip when I should have taken charge. Own up to it. Look deep into your heart, into your soul, and then seek your own counsel. Make those necessary corrections and move forward with confidence. Remember, we're all going to make mistakes. We're all going to have days when things just don't go our way. There will be times when we say the wrong thing, when our words come out at the wrong time, or when we lose our temper when we should have stayed calm. That's part of being human. But here's the lesson. Learn from those mistakes. Listen to the counsel of others, yes, but most importantly, listen to the counsel of yourself. Because when you do, you're not just admitting your mistakes, you're setting the stage for growth, for improvement, and for success. Now, here's the sixth one this year that can make this a fabulous year for you. And that is to face your fears. We all have them, those nagging fears that creep up when we're about to take on something big. The fear that maybe we won't do a good job, the fear that things might not turn out the way we hope. And some of these fears, well, they've been with us for a long time, maybe even since childhood. Life, you see, is a mix of both fear and faith. Now, faith is that powerful force that helps us rise above our fears. But when it comes to dealing with those fears, whether it's the fear of not being good enough or feeling like you don't have the strength right now, you've got to face them head on. You've got to ask yourself, what can I do to eliminate this fear, or at the very least, overcome it? I like to say, drive it into a small corner. Because let me tell you, there's always a battle going on between faith and fear. Here's the beauty of faith. It can push those fears into a small corner where they can't bother you. But if you start giving in to your fears, guess what? They can push your faith into a small corner instead. There's always this contest between good and evil, between light and darkness, between health and sickness, between freedom and tyranny. The battle is always there, but what we must learn to do is face that dark side, face those difficult challenges, and see if we can manage them. Maybe we can't get rid of them completely, but we can make them so small that they don't affect our performance. So whatever your fears are, face them. You've got the strength to do it. You've got the help to do it. You've got the support to do it. And there's no better time than now this year to make this your best year yet by taking on those fears and pushing them into that small corner where they belong. Now here's the last one, and that is to believe in yourself. To take control of your life and steer it in any direction you desire. The foundation is belief in yourself. You must start with a deep, unwavering belief in your own abilities. But it doesn't stop there. You've got to have faith in the future, that tomorrow holds promise and potential. You've got to believe in the country you call home, that it offers opportunities for those who seek them. You've got to trust in the economic system, that it can provide a platform for success if you're willing to work for it. And you've got to believe that our leaders, despite the challenges, will guide us toward a brighter, more prosperous world in the years ahead. Next, you need to believe in your community, the people you live with, work with, and share your life with. Believe in your church or your synagogue, whatever your place of worship may be, because it's a source of strength and guidance. You've got to believe in the people around you, in their potential, in their vision, in the possibilities they represent. See the opportunities that exist all around you and believe that they are within your reach. But here's the most crucial part of all: believe in yourself. This belief is the key that unlocks every door. When you're searching for answers, remember they're not far away. They're within your own consciousness, waiting to be discovered. If you need support, don't look too far, it's already there inside you. You have the capability, the strength, and the power to shape your life. Don't waste time complaining about what you don't have. Instead, focus on what you do have: your faith, your strength, and your inner power. There's an old saying, I complained about not having any shoes until I met someone who had no feet. This is a powerful reminder that you already possess more than enough. You have everything you need to see the possibilities, to believe in them, and to have faith that you can achieve them. And when you do this, watch how your life transforms. Your days will become brighter, your work will flourish, and everything around you will begin to change for the better. Remember, change begins with belief. Believe in yourself and watch the world around you change.